Hello everyone, peace be upon you all. Welcome to Taymology, where we study Taymism, which is following Ibn Taymiyyah and taking him as one's main source of reference through which one learns the religion and understands its primary texts, the Quran and the Sunnah, and the words of the predecessors and those who followed them to this day. Among the most prominent figures of Taymism are Ibn al-Qayyim and Ibn Uthaymeen and Ibn Baz and al-Albani. Taymism is often known as Salafism, which means predecessorialism or ancestralism, which means following the early generations of Muslims. However, in this sense, all Muslims are technically Salafi. To some extent, each sect has its own predecessors. No one can follow all the predecessors at the same time because the predecessors disagreed among themselves. You had, for example, Kharijis, Ibadis, Shi'is, Qadaris, Jahmis, Hanafis, al-Hadith, Zaydis, Nawasib or Nasibis, Malikis, Mu'tazilis, and so on. All these groups were existing at the time of the predecessors. They were the predecessors. Taymism is also known sometimes as Atharism, which means tracism or narrativism, which means following the traces or the traditions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or following Ahl al-Hadith specifically among the predecessors. In this sense, again, all Muslims are athari to some extent. Each group has its own traditions, and no one can follow all the traditions at the same time because there is a lot of difference in them as well. When it comes to attributing oneself to Ahl al Hadith, there are many diverse groups who attribute themselves to Ahl al Hadith as well. Lastly, there is a third name which is Wahhabism, i.e., followers of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. But this name is also inappropriate because there are Taymis who are, for example, Hanafi, or Sufi, or Hanbali, and so on. So, Wahhabis are indeed among the Taymis, but not all Taymis are Wahhabis. Some Taymis are ex Wahhabis. These three terms are used by different people in different senses to refer to many different groups at the same time. So, due to their ambiguity, I have abandoned them and I have chosen a clear term, which is Taymism. It is clear, it is following Ibn Taymiyyah and taking him as one's main source of reference. If someone objects to this name, we have here a fatwa by IslamWeb, a website founded by the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Qatar. Someone asks, Assalamu alaikum, my question is about naming a group of people Taymiyun, i.e., Taymis, uh, because they love Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Is this allowed? And is it true that Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in Ba' al-Ghamr named followers of Shaykh al-Islam as Taymiyun? Taymiyun is the Arabic conjugation of Taymis. All perfect praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. I testify that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave and messenger. First of all, we say that loving the scholars is something good as long as this love is moderate and does not lead to fanaticism and other evil matters. The name Taymiyyah as a relation to Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah is permissible, and there is nothing wrong with it, if this is just for being recognized as such, and it does not entail any dispraised fanaticism, alliance, or enmity based on it or similar evil matters. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah himself said in Majmu' al-Fatawa, volume 3, page 415, after condemning dividing the nation and testing or examining people based on names or false names, he now says that it is permissible to use names and affiliations with imams that they follow, such as Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, or to a Sufi sheikh like Qadari or Adawi and the like, or associating oneself to a tribe like Qaisi al-Yamani, or to regions like al-Shami, al-Iraqi, al-Masri, and so on. But it is not permissible to examine people to this effect or to make alliances based on these names, but it is permissible to use them to distinguish oneself from others. Why distinguish oneself from others? Someone asked Sheikh Abdulaziz ibn Abdullah al-Rajihi, who is explaining the words of Ibn Taymiyyah, the ruling on affiliation with Al-Qadari, Al-Adawi, or other Sunnis. The question: what is the justification for a person's affiliation with sheikhs like Al-Qadari and Al-Adawi? The answer: it is as if he was one of the Sunnis and was known at the time, so he was attributed to him in order to distinguish him from heresies and the people of heresies. In other words, you use them as a name for orthodoxy, your own view of orthodoxy. Now, continuing the fatwa, it says, after searching in the book of Inba al-Ghamr bi Abna al-Umr, written by Ibn Hajar, we have not come across any mention that the followers of Ibn Taymiyyah were called Taymians, even though the book stated many scholars who devotedly loved Ibn Taymiyyah, and Allah knows best. It is found in volume 1, page 460 of the book of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Anba al-Ghamr bi Anba al-Umr. In the end of the page, it says that Ibn Rajab was resented for issuing fatwas based on the articles of Ibn Taymiyyah. Then he showed retraction from that, but the Taymis or Taymiyun revolted against him, so he was neither with these nor with these. In other words, neither Taymiyan nor anti-Taymiyan. So this is clear evidence that the Taymis are an old group and that it is permissible to use such name to declare one's orthodoxy and to distance oneself from other heresies. And now this is the end of the video, and I thank you for watching, and peace be upon you, and goodbye.